Hello, welcome to Hearables Part 4. I'm here with Brandon from Starkey, longtime friend, and also the President and CEO of one of the most interesting companies in hearing aid and hearing space field all over. So one of the things that makes Starkey interesting is not just that they're making hearing aids and have been making them for a long time, but are starting to associate it with new services such as health. So Brandon, welcome.
Thank you, Nikolaj.
So one of the things that we've seen recently in the hearing aid space is hearing aid companies starting to buy up consumer products and consumer divisions, or consumer companies starting to make hearing enabled products. So Bose just announced a product today at 8:49. You saw Sonova acquiring Sennheiser Group. How do you think this space between consumer and hearing aids will evolve?
Well, I think it's a slow evolution. The headlines are good headlines for various reasons, but the reality is it starts with patient satisfaction. Hearing aid technology is not the consumer electronics space. Consumer electronics have well-known brands and other good products, but when you're dealing with hearing technologies, you and I have talked about over and over for over the last 6 years, is you have to put a lot of complex engineering components along with features in a very tiny space, and somebody has to forget they're wearing it for 14 hours. And so when you're doing earbuds or headphones or whatever it might be, you're talking 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or as long as you want to work out or listen to music. Hearing aids and consumer electronics are not the same.
So when we talk about the product itself, a lot of the components are very similar. But one of the things that I've been seeing in one of our past projects was the services that were associated with pretty much from the audiologists. How do you see the audiologists fare against this consumer kind of approach?
That's where the difference, in my opinion, and what we see now. Starkey's been in business for over 50 years. I've been in the hearing aid business in the industry for 27 years now. I've seen what our products, and I see what the hearing aid professional does, whether you're an audiologist or a hearing aid dispenser. And that's part of the process. The product is not a commodity. It's the whole system. So when people talk about the high cost of hearing aids, they're not thinking about, there's the upfront hearing evaluation. So the testing, looking inside the ear, because every ear is different. You and I, we've talked about this. Your ear is different than mine, and we hear differently. And the product has to be personalized and customized to that ear. So then you've got the evaluation. Here's the proper product solution for your hearing loss. And then there's the fitting, and then there's the follow-up for the next, 2 to 3 years. So there is an entire patient journey, per se, to better hearing. And it's not just picking up something off the shelf at your local drugstore or ordering something online and you're just going to put it in your ear and, life's going to be reconnected and you're going to hear perfectly again. It doesn't work that way. It's not that easy. Nothing is ever as easy as advertised.
That's very much true. We've done some very hard to do things in the past. It's not easy to make these things happen. When you're looking at a company like Bose entering the market, now what they're doing, and I haven't had, just a disclaimer, I haven't had it in my hands, I haven't tried it out, but it seems like a fairly low-featured product in terms of having no audio, Bluetooth. It doesn't seem like a front-runner kind of product.
No, and I've heard rumblings, and you hear about products that are coming out, and from what I can tell, and I don't have all the facts because I haven't read everything this morning, but so far on the surface, it's a Bluetooth personal sound amplifier per se. I don't know whether classification is a hearing aid. It doesn't have the high functionality of connectivities we're talking about the phone, from what I can see. and it's it's got a known name. I don't know if they're actually making the product themselves or licensing out their name, but I welcome competition, or because I think it pushes all of us. There should be disruption, because if there isn't, then we all get stagnant. We're not pushing ourselves. So I welcome any type of disruption to our industry, but as long as it's for the patient satisfaction and patient safety. We don't want a bad reputation on hearing aids to people who really need them.
So you saw Sonova acquiring Sennheiser's consumer division, and there's many different reasons why they would do this, and I would at some point ask them myself. But one well-known fact is the cost of acquiring new consumers in the hearing aid space. That it's very expensive to get someone to buy a product, specifically all the things that have to go through before the consumer actually uses the product. So these companies might look for a cheaper way of getting customers into their field. So getting the data from the consumer headphones and transferring that data to the hearing aid division. Do you think that's the right approach? Do you see a better approach to that than using consumer space as a custom acquisition space?
I think I know Arn from the CEO of Sonova, a very good CEO and a good man. And I don't know what their strategy was behind that acquisition. It could be various things. But I think you start looking again at the consumers, and are you selling through distributors, which we do. Most hearing aid companies do, because of the professional requirement of the fit. For me, the strategy is to have the best performing product, and I want to have the best hearing aid, and that starts with the sound quality. We all know this. I mean, you can build cheap hearing aid or any type of amplifiers, we know. But I want the best hearing aid with the best connectivity and the ease of use. So, because the reality, our market is you're dealing 65 plus in the senior population. 25, 30, 35-year-olds, Gen X, not running out to buy hearing aids. And it's always been interesting to me. As I said, I've been in here 27 years. When I first started, nobody, everybody was just, oh my gosh, can't wait. The baby boomers are coming. Wait till they get into the 65 plus, and this industry is going to explode. Well, now the baby boomers are in the 65 plus, and now everybody's talking about, well, how do we sell to the 20-year-olds or the skull candy generation that wants the headsets and make everything cool, and we're going to sell hundreds of millions. It doesn't work like that. People want better hearing. They want to hear better. And a hearing aid is not a consumer electronic device. The stats and the data are on our side. From a standpoint of more and more people over the next decade are going to need better hearing.
In the recent years, Stark has launched products like the Livio AI that have health measurement, health stats, and capabilities that will not just focus on the hearing, but also on the life aspect. How do you see this evolving? Because this is a very different approach than many others are taking.
Yeah, for us, job one in the hearing aid is sound quality, as I mentioned. So you've got to have the sound quality, connectivity, power source, and then comfortable fit. People have to forget they're wearing it because it's their job, it's their family. For people that need a hearing aid, they're doing it for a reason. It's the hearing loss is affecting their job. They're not connecting with their family. And for us, we've expanded that. You and I had many discussions, and you were at some of our introductions and one of our expos on a stage speaking about the future of in-ear devices. And with Livio, we've expanded it to what we call our Healthable features, whereas I talk about the ear as the gateway to overall health and wellness, and we've kind of made the ear the new wrist. So we're the only hearing aid company that has key embedded sensors inside the hearing aid, not your phone. Where yes, if you're have a hearing aid, but you also monitor your activity tracking for your steps, also your engagement with people, because we know that more and more studies come out, hearing loss related to early onset of Alzheimer's, dementia, loneliness. So you can see how much you are using your hearing aid throughout the day, how much you're engaging with people or on the phone, and then fall detection. You know, if we're the only hearing aid manufacturer and technology company that has fall detection inside the hearing aid. And I've had many, many stories, you know, where if somebody has falls, it sends a text message to their loved ones and tells them, you know, something's wrong. There's detected a fall, and alerts them. And you know, I've heard the life-saving stories. So, you know, we're continuing to expand in the Healthable and the virtual assistant area. Is really where you and I first started. And I was talking about the virtual assistant, and, you know, having the AI being a more of a shell around you, knowing more about you than you, right? We would joke that this is the Jarvis of Iron Man, right? And you know, we're continuing down that path, but our first job is always hearing better in the sound quality.
So in that space, you were speaking about 65 years plus, but we still have, according to the numbers that I just saw recently, 43 million Americans suffering from hearing loss, and only about 6 million people actually having a hearing aid. How do you transition from that 6 million to all the 43? How are you going to take that step?
Education. And I know that sounds elementary, but for me, that's the first thing I think of, because there's a stigma around hearing aids, whether it's movies, TV, even when the media talks about hearing aids and hearing loss, which is great. They use old pictures and, you know, the hearing aids you see in the media and or on TV, or the whistling, you know, that's a stereotype of decades ago. And I really, you know, with the education of what hearing aids can do, besides just helping you hear better, you know, people don't get hearing aids. You know, you said the 40 million, 10% penetration. And then you look at the world's was 466 million estimated to have hearing loss. By 2050, that number will be over 1 billion. And you look here in the U.S. with our Veterans Administration, the veterans, hearing loss and tinnitus are the number 1 and 2 top medical conditions of our retired military. And the reason people don't act quick enough is, respectfully, from a hearing loss, they know they're not going to die, meaning, I'll take care of it later. So it prolongs and prolongs until something happens, their job, family, a pandemic. You know, we've seen a lot of that because people are wanting to hear the news, talk on the phone now. You know, there's got to be some moment that motivates them to take action to help their hearing. So people just don't run in and get it immediately. There's usually about a 7-year process. So we're trying to shorten that 7 years.
One of the things I found very interesting when I was visiting your facilities was that there was a lot of people that actually didn't have any hearing loss that walked around with hearing aids.
Yes. Yes.
So,
even my son. Yes.
So tell me some about some of those experiences for the people that who actually didn't suffer from any hearing loss. Why would they use these products?
Well, you know, for me, well, I'll use my son for an example. He loves it when I tell this story. This was when we just launched Livio, and it was cool, right? We're talking about 26 languages, the translation of 26 languages, step counting, you know, all the other features that we've brought into the hearing aid through AI and machine learning, and the sound quality, and then of course the streaming, right? Streaming from his iPhone to the hearing aids and being able to talk. So for him, that was cool, and he wanted, you know, it was his, I think it was his 12th birthday. And he asked me what he wanted. He goes, well, I want a pair of Livios. And I laughed. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I forgot about it. And then, of course, my wife didn't. He opened up his birthday present, set of Livios. And I realized what I've been talking about just happened, but I didn't recognize it. But we made hearing aids cool. When a, 11, 12-year-old kid wants a pair of hearing aids, but he doesn't think of them as hearing aids. Took him to school, wear them. His other friends wanted a pair. And then I noticed, I was told he got his hearing aids taken away from him for a week or so. My wife was telling me he can't wear them to school for a while. I said, why? Well, number one, he was streaming some music during a class, but he was using the translator in his French class, and he got in trouble for it. And And I kind of laughed. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Because I'm thinking, that's resourceful. That's not cheating. That's using technology. That's pretty smart. So, it's the extra features, and it's the white too. We have the color, there's different various colors with the hearing aid. So they just don't think of it as that big beige banana, hanging behind somebody's ear that, the media or the movies would stereotype of decades ago.
I think when hearing aids evolve into hearing plus health,
No.
and is seen more like super hearing than being disabled.
Yeah.
And
You're
that's
exactly
what
right.
I like about what you're doing, is that it takes that transition from being disabled into enabled.
Right. It's not about having a hearing loss. It's what's my ability? What's my gain? Right. What can I do? And that's what these products can do, and they can help you hear better. And it's funny. It's the third time in like 2 weeks I've heard the word superhuman hearing, because, we are enhancing people's ability, not only with hearing, but in other areas with our products and devices. And again, it goes back to the education of, here's what today's technology can do, because hearing is essential. Hearing healthcare is a global need, and hearing loss is a global issue.
So the last question of the day, you have a long day ahead of you. I had a long day behind me. Where do you see Starkey going? Like, you've been having the health and the hearing. Is that something you want to strengthen, or where is Starkey going to go?
Number one, it starts with the people and the talent. A company is only as good as the talent you have. So we're always focusing on the talent that we have to make our products better, because I want the best performing products. It starts, people are getting hearing aids because of the things we just mentioned. They want to hear better in noise. And we know that we can continue to do better, right? What's that real 3D sound in a cocktail party or restaurant? Go down the list where, somebody can continue to hear better in that noise, and we can deliver better connectivity and that sound quality. Strengthen the Healthable. The ear is, think of the ear as it's real estate. We want to own it. And what kind of data and information can we get from continuing our Healthable? You got your heart rate, temperature, SpO2, blood pressure. I can go down the list. And these are things that we've talked about openly, that we are going to continue to strengthen and innovate and do what is right, and really what's best for the patient. Right? There has to be real patient benefit, not as I tell the team here. I don't want a Swiss Army knife. What are the features that the patients are going to need, and that we can provide to our hearing healthcare professionals? And then I'm still in it, from our discussions back in 2016, and our meeting when I came over to Germany, is that virtual assistant. We continue to enhance and being able to use the virtual assistant within a hearing aid, just like you do with Siri or Google or whatever technology is available now. We're continuing to enhance that technology, where we use it for medication reminders for patients. It's a lot of patients and seniors forget to take their medication, and we're enhancing those type of features for our demographics. And the main thing is, we're going to do what we do well and stay in our lane and not try and be everything to everybody. I think that's where companies kind of go wrong sometimes. Sometimes it works, but we got a lot of great things on the horizon, and it starts with the talent we have here.
Brandon, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure. And
always good to see you, Nikolaj.
Likewise.
Thank you for having me.
Much.
All right, my friend. I appreciate it. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.